Good evening. We hope you're enjoying tonight's program. It's a culmination of an entire day's activities for Founders Day, recognition of outstanding alumni award winners, and the fabulous Wesleyan Eco Festival held outside on our quadrangle. At your tables are commemorative glass gifts designed by Professor of Art Phil Guilfoyle and his students, produced through their work with our partners at the Chrysler Museum Glassblowing Studio, and it's delightful to say that Eric is here this evening. And of course, if you haven't had a chance, Luisa's artwork is over here at the entrance, and we welcome you to take a look at that also. It's magnificent. We thank our students and Phil for their distinctive, one-of-a-kind contribution to our special day. Also at your place, there is the new VWU lapel pin, and we hope you'll take that and wear it with pride as well. We have a number of Virginia Wesleyan trustees and trustees emeriti who are with us this evening. First of all, the chair of the Board of Trustees, David Kaufman. David, why don't you stand up? Our immediate past chair of the board, Gary Bonnewell. Butch Everett. Billy George. And if you have not had the opportunity, Billy has been a wonderful partner with us on a new facility, the Frank Blocker Youth Center, over on the back side of the campus near the Arboretum. And during the year, it serves an academic purpose for the university, but during the summer it serves Camp Red Feather, and what a wonderful partnership that's been. Susan Good, where are you, Susan? Stay tuned, because in November we'll be having the groundbreaking for the new Susan S. Good Fine and Performing Arts Center, and we're delighted to share that news as well. Mary Haddad, where are you, Mary? I saw you here somewhere. Vince Mastracco. Mavis McKinley. Mavis is also the chair of our Alumni Council. Deborah Paxson. Ken Trender II. Henry Watts. Emeriti trustees, John Trinder. John was here, there is John. Bobby Collenberg. And Jane Batten. We thank our trustees for their steadfast support of Virginia Wesleyan University. Special welcome to our science faculty in the Joan P. Brock School of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, who are bringing this magnificent structure to life with their teaching, research, and mentoring of our amazing students. They have really brought some energy into this facility that'll make it a niche program nationally, and we're appreciative and proud of that. I know many of you have toured the building at various points in its construction. Its many distinctive features are already becoming well known as Virginia Wesleyan increases our national leadership in the study and preservation of the natural environment. We've convened tonight in a 44,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility with classrooms, laboratories, and research facilities. Major features include ecology and marine biology and earth science labs, atmosphere and oceanographic studies, and analytical chemistry labs, a Chesapeake Bay aquatics lab, geology and hydrology labs, versatile teaching and learning spaces, including smart classrooms, lecture and seminar rooms, and strategically placed sustainable features such as geothermal systems for heating and cooling, solar panels, research gardens, and also a green roof. Virginia Wesleyan is now second to none by having a center devoted to the environmental sciences. And at a time when scientific inquiry is critical to our very survival as a planet, the Greer Environmental Sciences Center will make significant contributions to understanding the health and interrelatedness of ecological systems. It will support relevant discussion and public policy deliberations about environmental challenges here in Hampton Roads, in America, and around the globe. It will inspire new partnerships in research and service with organizations that share our commitment to sustainability, conservation, and environmental vitality. Fundamentally, this center will inspire next generation of leaders in science and related technology whose skills will be needed to safeguard the health and natural diversity of the Earth. We urge our students to benefit all they can from their new adventures in the Greer Environmental Sciences Center, and we challenge them to find the solutions to complex questions. And I assure them that Virginia Wesleyan University stands behind them with a devoted faculty and the latest methods and tools for scientific inquiry and exploration. Also standing behind our students and faculty in support of their future work have been many individuals and key teams of professionals who brought us to this day. Let me acknowledge the contributions and support of those who are with us tonight, along with many others who should be recognized. We're grateful first to the donor who provided the funding to construct this outstanding addition to our campus and who has shared with us excitement for over 3 years as design and groundbreaking were succeeded by construction and dedication. We will be indebted to you for generations. There was a campus planning team who outlined all of the possibilities for the Greer Environmental Sciences Center. Those individuals are with us this evening, and we thank them for guiding this project in its earliest stages. From institutional advancement, Suzanne Savage and Mita Vale, and faculty leaders Dr. Maynard Schaus, Dr. Soraya Bartol, and Dr. Chris Haley. Thank you for your vision. To the architects, VMDO, Joe Atkins, Dade Vanderwerth, Jim Kovach, and Lorenzo, I'm sorry, I still can't pronounce your last name after 3 years. Lorenzo, you're wonderful, with the rest of the VMDO gang. VMDO brought our vision from initial ideas to working conceptualization to final design, and we thank you for your help in making this dream come true. To the contractors, Horrigan Construction, Mark Horrigan, Todd Donaldson, and Chris Brandt, vital partners of Virginia Wesleyan, whose careful attention to detail, insistence on safety and excellence, and cooperation with us on countless hard hat tours over the 15 months of construction. We thank you for bringing the Greer Environmental Sciences Center from concept to reality on time and under budget. And I would also be remiss with the Horrigan team if I didn't mention Clark and Eric and Katie and Renee and Nathan, who have become a part of our family during the last 15 months. We thank you. To our landscape architect, Pete O'Shea, O'Shea Siteworks, and our friends at the Norfolk Botanical Garden, led by Michael Desplaines, who have partnered with us for the care and educational use for the plantings and landscaping that have created a living laboratory of natural beauty and diversity surrounding the center. The 25,000 plants cover 145,000 square feet on and surrounding this beautiful facility. We thank you, and we say tend them well. To the City of Virginia Beach and Mayor Will Sessoms and his team, who've embraced our many projects arising from the campus master plan, supported our plans for expansion and transition to Virginia Wesleyan University, and celebrated with us as we've passed each important milestone of progress, our deepest thanks as well. To our partners in the study of environment, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, the Virginia Aquarium and Marine Science Center, the Virginia Institute of Marine Science, Lynn Haven River Now, the Elizabeth River Project, and the Norfolk Botanical Garden, we thank you for support as we work with you to enhance our students' research and other forms of experiential learning. On a personal note, Annie and I have appreciated the gracious welcome provided by Billy and Fan Greer. In 2015, as the campus commemorated Billy's 23 years as president of Virginia Wesleyan, a surprise announcement was made that this building would be named for him, honoring his commitment to the environment, sustainability, and our high-profile programs in the natural sciences. Leadership by Billy Greer in these areas inspired the gift that funded the construction. Billy, as a longtime college president, I know what it means to have a facility named for a departing president, and I can think of no more fitting expression of Virginia Wesleyan's gratitude to you for your service than dedicating this outstanding facility in your name. I know that the solid foundation that we continue to build now as a vibrant university will advance the vital work of environmental sciences for generations to come. That is a tremendous testament to your hard work and your leadership, a legacy that all of us admire and applaud you for today. We wondered, Billy, what would be another appropriate gift on this occasion of honoring you? That is, something other than naming our newest building after you. We therefore decided that with the transition to university status and the rebranding of all of our logos and trademarks, that it would only be fitting to present you the medallion that you wore as the president of Virginia Wesleyan College for 23 years. The Presidential Medallion was first presented to you at your installation in April of 1993. Billy, as I invite you to the podium for some comments on this special day, I'm pleased to make a gift to you with the warmest wishes to you from a grateful campus community. If you would, please come forward.
Seeing that medallion brings back a lot of memories. I remember that day when I went through that installation, and I got home that evening, and Fan was there waiting, and she was congratulating me and so forth, and she said, but you need to take out the garbage. I said, you don't understand. I've just been inducted as the president of Virginia Wesleyan College. She said, you can wear your robe. So now I have a medallion to wear when I get up to work. Well, I give a lot of speeches, and you like to get to a point in a speech where you feel like you have it, because for weeks and weeks when you're working on it, it has you. And so, I mean, I have wrestled with what I'm going to say tonight. I've got all kind of papers up here. And believe you me, I'm not going to use them all. But I am going to do more than just make a few comments. I mean, after all, you know, I spent 23 years of my life here. I left a big hunk of my heart here. There are people all across this room that were more than just trustees, but they became friends. And I do want to say a few things. But let me say this before I launch into that if the lights should go out right now and we had to go home, I can tell you what this talk is about. This talk is about the importance of relationships. The importance of relationships. When Suzanne Savage called me, she said, well, now you know we want you to say a few words at the dinner. And I said I'd be honored to. And she said, but we'd like for you to hold it about 3 or 4 minutes. I said, Suzanne, you know, I spent a lot of years there. And I can't, with this slow-talking Georgia voice, I can't say good evening in 4 minutes. And so I'm going to push it a little bit beyond that. Don't start looking at your watches. I'm not going to be that long, I promise you, but just a little more than that. And oh, by the way, President Miller, Suzanne wanted me to say to you, be sure that you tell President Miller that I delivered the message. And so I'm telling you now, she delivered the message. I'm just not going to pay much attention to it. We spent some happy years in the mountains of North Carolina. Can you all hear me back there fine? All right. We spent some happy years there, and where I was the president of Brevard College, and after the camping season was over, and there were a lot of wonderful camps in those North Carolina mountains, I would drive out one day to see a buddy of mine who owned Camp Carolina. His name is Nath Thompson. And we were sitting there in his office, and a nice fire going in the fireplace, and it was just two friends talking about a lot of different things. And the telephone rang. And he reached over with that big, thick, athletic hand of his, and he grabbed the phone, and he said, when he grabbed it, he said, "Hello, this is Camp Carolina. What a day. The Carolina blue skies are touching the Blue Ridge Mountains. What a day." I tell you, it almost made me want to sign up for camp. And I thought then, when I left his office later on that day, I thought, you know, I like that. And around here, when we were involved in a project, quite often my colleagues would hear me say, what a day. What a day. There is no place anywhere, I think, better suited to study the environmental sciences than right here in this spot right now. I am the luckiest guy in the world to have worked here for 23 years. And I thank you for the privilege of doing that. I remember when I came over here to interview for this job, a man named Judge Jerry Bray was chair of the board, chair of the search committee. I walked into a room on this campus, and there were about 25 people there. There were trustees, there were students, there were staff, faculty, and for several hours they grilled me about my philosophy of education and what I thought about small to mid-sized liberal arts colleges. Later on during the day, I was invited to take a tour of the campus. And of all things, they assigned David Buckingham to me. And he was the vice president for student affairs. And so he and I walked around the campus. It just happened to have been a day when we were having one of those nor'easters. You all know what I'm talking about? It's when the rain is coming at you sideways. And we had an umbrella, but the nor'easter had already done the umbrella in. We were just getting soaking wet. We weren't walking around, we were sloshing around. And then the student came up to us on the sidewalk. And the student said to Buckingham, Judge Bray wants to see Greer in the business office conference room. And so I thought, I bet I blew the interview. I bet Judge Bray wants to see me to tell me that they have decided to move on to another candidate, and I could head on back to North Carolina. I walked into the room, and the judge was sitting there, and there was a sofa, not really a sofa. I think we called them down in Georgia love seats. They were just two people could sit there. And so he asked me to have a seat, and he sat down next to me. And Judge Bray was a little man, small man, and he had kind of a high-pitched voice. And he looked at me and he said, well, he said, we have found our new president, and it's you. And the tears were streaming down his face as he said that. And I said to myself, that's the place I want to be. That's where I want to be. Because there's an institution with a heart. There's an institution that believes in relationships of all kinds. And so, I want you to listen to the names of the board chairs I had the pleasure of having during this 23-year run. Judge Bray, I've mentioned. Jane Batten, Frank, her husband. Joan Brock was the board chair. Macon, her husband, was involved in her life here at the college. George Birdsong and Sue. George wanted to be here tonight. He has just come through some surgery. He was recovering in the Hoy Center out at Westminster Canterbury. Went back home today to his apartment. Called me just before coming here, and I could hear the emotion in his voice. He said, Billy, we wanted to come, but he said, I started getting dressed, and I just didn't feel like I could make it. And certainly I understood. And I said, I'll see you in a day or two and give you a play-by-play description of everything that went on. Butch Everett, his wife Carol. There are a lot of Butch Everett stories, and they're all good. And we don't have time for me to tell them tonight. Gary Bonnywell and Debbie. Vince Mastrocco and Suzanne. Vince, I love those early morning breakfasts with you. We had a lot of great conversation about this college and where it was going and how it was going to get there, and new people that we were trying to get involved. Vince is not only a great attorney, but he's a great friend. And Henry Watts. Henry has become a great friend, and we see Henry and Eleanor at the Chautauqua Institution in New York State. Every summer, he introduced me, in fact, to the Chautauqua Institution. I mean, you hear that name of who's. Yeah, I'd walk into a den full of lions with any one of those people. And we were just fortunate to have their leadership. And then quickly, and I'll try to do this quickly, other people that I think about around here, because it's about people. It's about people and about relationships. The people I'm going to name for you now never sought to lead the parade. They never wanted to be in the spotlight, but they were so important to this college. Larry Hultgren, philosopher, keeps a scores book at basketball games. A brilliant man. He, along with Vern Kiefer, who's retired now, started really the first environmental courses here in this institution. I saw Larry earlier tonight. I know he must be looking at this building just thinking, wow, what he could do with this. Judy Sands and Judy Coltrane. We would call them secretaries. They were far more than that to me. And they were more than assistants. They were friends, and they loved this institution. David Buckingham, I've already mentioned. Meta Vale is as fine as they come when it comes to development, advancement work. And she poured herself into her work here. Kate Loring, another terrific person. Diane Hotelling headed up the community service program here from its very beginnings. Jim Bergdahl, Carrie Sawyer, Steve Mansfield. Steve Mansfield got off of a bus out here on what we now call Wesleyan Drive. It was a dirt road then. Got off of that bus and walked across a cornfield here, really before there was any college here. And he was interviewed, and so he came here and he stayed here. There's not a better teacher of American history anywhere than Steve Mansfield. Joyce Howell. Joyce Howell, I tell people I would have probably majored in art if I had had her as an instructor. But Joyce Howell is an important person to this institution. I have not left out Tim O'Rourke. I'm dwelling on people who have had that job that he's got and have now moved on to other things. And Tim, I think, is still writing his chapter here. Carrie Sawyer. Alice and Lambeth Clark. Now, Alice is here tonight, and I want to tell you that I had no better friend in the world than Lambeth Clark. And we will never know all they did and felt like they had to do in order to get this college up out of the ground. They were special people. I studied one summer at Harvard with Lambeth. I was sitting there eating my breakfast one morning, and this man came up and sat down. I'd never laid eyes on him. And he looked across the table at me, and he said, "Billy, I'm Lambeth Clark." He said, "You know, you're not going to always be at Brevard College." He said, "Somebody's going to get you." And he said, "I hope it's Virginia Wesleyan." He said, "Don't overlook Virginia Wesleyan because it's a young school." And I didn't forget that conversation. And Lambeth and I become fast friends. Bill Wilson was an academic dean when I came here. Just a wonderful human being. His wife, Martha Jo, I saw earlier today. And then I would say Fan Greer. And I mean that. Fan was raising 3 pretty rowdy boys and good boys, but she was raising them and trying to go back to graduate school herself, working on a PhD in clinical psychology. And was with me at every function this college had where she felt like and I felt like she needed to be. And then our three sons, I mentioned briefly, William is here. William is the development officer for Washington and Lee, and I tell people he's kind of a Rockwilder when it comes to raising money. I mean, he's good at it. And his youngest brother, David, is Director of Development for the Morehead Cane down at Chapel Hill at University of North Carolina. So I'm raising two good development people. Y'all take note of that. And then Robert. Robert's probably doing what all the rest of us wish we could do. We just don't have the talent and don't have the brains to do it. Robert is a bluegrass and country music singer of the first order. If I am his daddy, he's making it. He's traveling all over the world and doing what he wants to do, follow his heart, has a good liberal arts education from Wofford College in Spartanburg, South Carolina. All of those people, I'm talking about Fan and William and Robert and David, all of them, though they were in other places, became Marlins. That's my point. Became Marlins. Phone would ring at night, and if I was reasonably certain it was one of them, I would say, Marlin Land. And they wanted to know what was going on at the college, what kind of day I had. And so while they may have been in school at the University of Minnesota, might have been in school at Wofford, might have been in school at Chapel Hill, they all wanted to know about the Marlins. Well, you've come here tonight to see this magnificent structure. And some of you have come here, though I know, to see how old Greer is holding up. And I would tell you he's holding up pretty well. And you've heard me talk so much about the book that you're sick of it, but I'm writing a book that I think I'm excited about. I know I'm excited about. And many of you are in the book, so you're going to want to get a copy and read it. So I'm also taking on some responsibilities with the VFIC, Virginia Foundation for Independent Colleges, and I'm enjoying that as well. And then we're visiting grandchildren, and we have 5 grandchildren, and I don't know how long it's been since any of you have been in a second grade class, but it's pretty special. You know, we'll go in on Grandparents' Day and we'll try to make ourselves invisible, and the teacher will come in the room and she will say, "Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to all be butterflies." And with that, they all start just flitting their wings around. They'll jump up on their chair. They'll go and bump up against another butterfly. Oh, they're just having the best time being butterflies. And yet, along about, I think, I need to ask Dennis Manning about this, but along about the 7th or 8th grade, something happens to them. They lose that sense of curiosity and imagination. It just seems to disappear. I'm hoping this building is going to intercept those kids who were in the 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and open up their imagination to them. Ignite their curiosity and give them a fresh interest in learning. And I believe it can do that. I believe it can do it. Almost from the first day I arrived here, 25 years ago, Lambeth Clark said to me, he said, Billy, you got to get out. And I'd like to mimic him. Billy, you got to get out. You got to get around. Get around this Commonwealth. You want people to know you. And I said, yes, sir. And so I hit the ground running. And I remember one particular Sunday, I was off to the western part of the state to a little rural Methodist church in the middle of nowhere. And so I pulled up in front of the church. And I saw one man out front. I don't know if he was checking. He wasn't checking his emails or anything like that, because we probably didn't even have that then. But he was outside by himself. And I walked up to him and I said, good morning. And he said, good morning. And I said, I hear y'all have a guest speaker today. Well, I was the guest speaker. And he said, that's right, we got a college president. I think I'm getting out of here. And so I said, well, do you mind telling me where the minister's study is? And he said, it's over in that direction, go in that door, and so forth. And so it came time for this worship service to start. And I looked back on the back row, and that guy was still here. And so I gave that guy the best I could give him. You know, I just really tried to do a good job with that sermon, that talk. Church service was over, and I was standing at the front door shaking everybody's hand. And this man came up to me, and he looked at me, sort of stared at me, and he said, well, he said, you're something. You're really something. You just don't look like nothing. Y'all, wait a minute now. Y'all are laughing way too much. The Environmental Sciences Center and the Batten Honors College and stirring the Batten Fellows and stirring the Schumannine Scholars, when that happens, this institution will be able to shout to the world that it has indeed become an institution with a strong academic program. And so what I'd like to do right now is, and I'm almost through, what I'd like to do right now is to send an airmail special delivery message to Anonymous. And here's what I want you to do. At the count of three, I want you to say thank you to the top of your voice. We want to find out if this construction company did a good job, because we want to see if that ceiling stays in place. All right? So you all help me out now. Everybody with that. 1, 2, 3. Thank you! All right. I tell you, it's people, it's relationships that make things go. Long time ago, we were living, as I said earlier, in Brevard, North Carolina, and working at Brevard College. One morning, bright and early, a lovely lady came into my office, and she said, I have some news that I want to share with you. She said, I've been sick for the last few weeks, and yesterday I found out that I have cancer. She worked in our housekeeping department. And she said to me, She said, I need to work. And I love my job, and I want to be a part of this college as long as y'all will let me. We'll call her Mary. And I said, Mary, you got a job here as long as you want it. And when you come to the point when you can't do your job again, because she was worried about that, we'll find you another position on this campus. You're way ahead of me, but 6 months later, Mary died. And shortly after her death, an older woman who looked as though she was well educated and came into my office. And she said, I want you to come and talk to you. She said, Mary worked for me at my house when she was on her day off here. And she said she would walk around the house dusting and mopping, and she would be talking. And she would tell me about her job at the college. And she said to me one time, they are going to let me stay there and work as long as I want to work. And this lady said to me, backed off, and she looked at me and she said, you know, I don't know anything about this school, but I can tell you that a school with a heart like that, a school that will allow someone to continue working, find a place of employment there, she said, that's good enough for me. And I want to leave the school everything I have. Now, you know, I don't care if it's but $5. When somebody gives you everything they got, that's pretty strong. So, my parting words. My favorite historian, and I bet some of you too, is David McCullough. And David McCullough said this. He said, be generous. Give of yourself. Have the courage of your convictions. And whatever path you take, whatever work you do, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Because for one thing, if you're happy, you'll think better. This 40,000 plus square foot building stands here and reminds us all of who we are and what we stand for. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy, and thank all of you again for joining us on this great day for Virginia Wesleyan. I'd like to propose a toast to Virginia Wesleyan University. If you would, grab your glass of champagne. This toast will be to our newest addition to our campus, the Greer Environmental Sciences Center. May all who learn here flourish as scholars, build new avenues to understanding, and share their knowledge for the health and advancement of humankind. Thank you all for coming. Stay as long as you want. Enjoy the fellowship, tour the facility. We're delighted to have you as family and friends of Virginia Wesleyan University. Thank you again.